Direct from the Six, world-renowned, Canada's largest city, with Canada's biggest thinkers, visionaries, and hustlers. This is Startup Talk, featuring the founders, funders, innovators, and community leaders who've led Canada's startup ecosystem right here in Toronto. You'll hear the challenges, the failures, the successes. Toronto's Startup Podcast gives you the full story direct from the entrepreneurs and influencers who've made a difference. Now, the host of Startup Talk, the founder of TorontoStarts, the Startup Coach.
So, as we head into 2025, what do founders looking for funding need to focus on to get attention from investors? When I say that, long gone are the days of somebody at a bar writes on a napkin, they're getting $10 million. And I talk to people all the time where they hear about something happened in Silicon Valley with this pitch deck and they got 100 million. So I should be able to get the same in Canada. Well, first of all of that's gone, and it never really existed in Canada. Secondly, if that's gone, what do founders need to do to impress investors as we move forward into 2025?
Yeah,
I can kick things off if you don't mind.
Great, yeah, of course.
Because I work with a lot of founders, and a lot of the founders I'm working with are raising often for their first time. The biggest challenge they have, and what investors are looking for, is traction and actual revenues, whether it's through pilots or actual revenues from paying customers. It's kind of a critical component, and actually to add to what Craig said, there was a time when there was the napkin, but there was also I've got a great idea and I've got 100,000 followers but no paid customers. Oh, where can I write a check? That doesn't really happen anymore either. You need paying customers. That's my opinion. A lot of the companies I'm working with are pre-revenue, and they're having a really tough time raising capital pre-revenue.
Yeah, I'll mirror what Jeff was saying. One thing we've really seen as a sort of trend across the whole industry, capital raising industry, from investors, specifically in Canada, is really since kind of 2022. We've had a real pullback of investors who are interested in investing in pre-revenue, sort of very early stage companies. While that still, yes, can happen sometimes in Silicon Valley. And so, people like to refer to that. Certainly in Canada, investors these days want to see post-revenue deals. One way that I often describe it, and builds on the whole traction point that Jeff made, is when you approach an investor, the investor needs to get a clear understanding, and they want to feel from you that what you're building, your company is, the proverbial rocket that's already taking off. It's not, hey, Mr. Investor, if you give me $1 million, I'll build you a rocket and then we'll take off. They want to hear, we built a rocket, it's fueled, we're taking off. You can invest $1 million and get on the rocket with us, or you can just watch us fly by. And so if you think about that sort of allegory a little bit as an example, you need to be in a situation where you're getting everything done, or as much as you can done, without the funding. You don't want to be approaching investors saying, I would do this if only you gave me $1 million. You want to say, I have traction here, I have more customers here, but if you give me money, we can do it faster.
I might steal that idea, Alex. Thanks.
No problem. No problem.
Good explanation.
Anyone else want to jump in on that?
Yeah, well, the things that I'm seeing nowadays, talking to investors, and what they're looking for is some things for prioritization would be product market fit, strong business fundamentals, scalable solutions are really pertinent, just to kind of get down to the first principles or fundamentals, right? Another thing, obviously, that investors, and feel free to jump in, guys, on the angel side, but there almost has to be an AI element to it nowadays to even just to get investors to even keep listening to your pitch.
John, have you seen any pitches that don't say AI?
No, not now. Well, yes, and then I tell them, yeah, you should add in some sort of AI element, even if it's But yeah, the other thing too that I find is becoming in the last couple of years is social impact. So like ESG, environmental, social governance metrics are becoming increasingly important. But again, I'm not on the investor side. I do work with investors, but feel free, those who are in the thick of things, to correct me if I've said anything that's inaccurate.
So let's jump to this next one here. Go ahead, Graham.
Oh, I was just to say from my perspective, and I probably sounds a little bit counter to maybe the rest of the group, but jump in often more on the pre-revenue side. But for me, two things that we're actively looking for is ability of the founding team to kind of reach meaningful customer depth and customer audience. So whether or not they've got customers kind of signed up, but showing they've had significant conversations with their target audience, with their kind of early engagement. And the other is products that are painkillers versus vitamins. I'm sure lots have heard of that, but like too often we see pitches and it's like, well, that would be nice to have. Or it's like, oh, that would be cool. I've seen so many pitches, especially in the AI space, of like, this data set's going to be amazing and it's going to automate everything. We just need a really clean CRM from every client we sell to. And it's like, have you spent time in a CRM for most companies? Unless you can ingest garbage, that's not going to happen. And so like, I get excited when we start to see companies that are solving real pain, that when you put it in front of customers, they're kind of like, we need this yesterday. Like, how quickly can I pay you for it? And can I pay you to get it faster? Versus like, yeah, huge uphill battle to like try and wedge it in amongst 8 other tools. So for me, it's less about kind of, here's the rocket, we're already in space, come along, and more, here's the rocket that people are actually genuinely excited to get and fills a pretty significant gap operationally, because that we get pretty excited about.
This has been Startup Talk, Toronto's startup podcast. For more exclusive content, the episode vault, and to be part of TorontoStarts community, visit TorontoStarts.com. Get your name on the newsletter mailing list and check out our upcoming events. For more episodes, subscribe now. And please recognize the time and work behind the scenes put into connecting you with the biggest visionaries, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Toronto by leaving a 5-star review. Join us for more next episode from Toronto's most active entrepreneur and startup community on Startup Talk.